Alan in Glendale, California. Hey, Alan. What's on your mind?
Oh, hi. Hi, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
I'm a little upset with some of the hits that black politicians have had to take for white politicians, and I'm going to go down the list. Colin Powell had to go before the UN and basically try to make the case for WMDs in
He
Iran.
had to lie.
Yeah.
And he knew it wasn't true. I've read comments by him. He said, this is just not true, and he used a little bit more graphic language. But it wasn't Rumsfeld, or it wasn't Cheney, or it wasn't anyone else who went out there. It was Colin Powell. And he had to take the hit, and I think that is not a coincidence.
You think, Alan, that George Bush was sitting around, George Bush and Dick Cheney were sitting around going, we got to lie the world into this. How are we going to do this? And Dick Cheney says, oh, let's get the black guy to do it.
Yeah.
Conspiratorial, but, Colin Powell did have the military experience. He had the gravitas that none of those other guys had.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly what the thinking was, but it wouldn't surprise me, but I can't say because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then secondly, after Benghazi, Hillary Clinton, she's not feeling well. Who takes the hit? Susan Rice, a black woman. She goes on the Sunday shows, and that kind of, doesn't help her career. And I feel that's very unfair. Whatever you think of Benghazi, what was Susan Rice having to go out there on Sunday and defend everything?
Alan, thank you for the call. Colin Powell was a decorated war hero, a very high credibility figure. I think it's probable that the Bush administration pushed him out there, not because he was black, but because he was the guy that had the credibility to sell it to the rest of the world. And maybe being black would help that with, a large part of the world that's not white. But I don't know.
Well, Harry Belafonte would dispute whether he was actually black, though. But
you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Harry Belafonte had an ongoing feud with Colin Powell. They was both Caribbean and from similar backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds. And he was just making the notion that he was a house Negro that was doing the bidding of the master. And that's exactly what he did there. And he was more than willing to do that. And so was Condoleezza Rice and Clarence Thomas and millions of others who've been successful in this country. That type of blackness is acceptable. The unforgivable blackness is when you have the audacity, like a Cynthia McKinney or someone, to go against the grain and speak out against what's going on. I met Colin Powell at the National Press Club a couple of months ago. And my own friends, people that know me and supposed to like me, I guess, I don't know if they love me or not, but they criticized me because I refused to shake his hand. They felt that I disrespected him by refusing to shake his hand. I'm like, I'm not under any obligation to shake anybody's hand. I didn't call him a house Negro like Harry Belafonte did. I didn't attack him, but I asked him. I'm like, what do you think now about? Would you have done things differently? He said, well, they gave me faulty information, and and I'm looking at him like, okay, so if their intelligence community can't get it right, and this is millions of lives have been lost as a result of this, and of course billions of dollars have been made as a result of this. Yeah. It doesn't look good to me at all, and I think that we need to be mindful that black faces in high places should not be room for comfort. So I would go along with you saying that they might not have gotten him because he was black, but it definitely did help with his credibility.
But if Colin Powell had been white with the exact same CV background, not necessarily the life experience, but the same college, the same went into the military, same war hero, all that stuff, I think a white guy would have been honored to be Secretary of State. I mean, it's so what's wrong, or Connie Rice or anybody else? I mean, why should a person say, no, I'm not going to be part of a white administration because I'm black?
It's not about being a part of a white administration. I would have been honored to have worked with Paul Wellstone, I believe his name. I would have been honored to work with Howard Zinn. I would have been honored to ride with John Brown. That's not the issue. The case is that you're serving the bidding of a fascist, imperialist regime. That's what the Bush administration was. And make no mistake about it, I'm still not convinced about what truly happened in 9/11. I'm quoting the Boondocks right now. This is a quote from the Boondocks. Don't hate me, hate the Boondocks. Ronald Reagan was a devil, Jesus was black, and the government's lying about 9/11. There's a lot of holes in their story. There was a flight, a TWA flight. Oh wow. 800, I believe.
Yeah, Flight 800.
Yeah. What happened to Flight 800, Tom?
I think the best story is that the Navy was doing missile exercises off the coast and they shot it down. But
they shot it down, and we can speculate whether they shot it down because they haven't admitted. Let's go about the facts of what they admitted, because people talk about conspiracies. Let's go about what they have admitted to. They admitted to, like you said, they was doing military exercises, firing. Right. They admitted that they was in the area and that they fled the area after the plane went down. Right. Those are the facts. So you come to your own conclusions after that. Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. We should not be a part of that just because it's beneficial to us financially, career, and what have you. Plenty of people work for Walmart. They don't support Walmart, but no one's dying as a result of Walmart. But people are dying working with Lockheed Martin. People are dying in this administration that is funding these drones programs and the largest military industrial complex on the planet that President Eisenhower warned us about. So that is what we're talking about. But that is the #1 game in town. And I'll let you push back, but I wanted to make sure I come back with a story I have for you.
Okay, if I may. I mean, isn't there a certain danger to that purity? I mean, because I've heard that same argument about, for example, Bernie Sanders. This guy has been independent his whole entire life, and now he's inside the Democratic Party running for president. And there are folks who are saying, he should run as an independent. He should do a Ralph Nader. And the reality is, if he wants to actually become president, he's got to become part of the system. How do you maintain your integrity? And I think Bernie will be able to maintain his integrity. But how do you maintain your integrity if you're saying, because I see this as a corrupt system, I'm not going to get inside it and conceivably try to change it?
I don't want to discourage anyone, but history has shown us that more often than not, you do not change the system changes you. And if you are strong enough to resist that, then you don't get to stay around too long. So I applaud anyone who has the audacity to take on this system full force, like Bernie Sanders is talking about, because he is really talking about turning capitalism on his head. Yeah. And I support him in that. I think he needs to do a better job in making sure there's a black agenda. I think he needs to do a better job in making sure that if he's not successful, that because of our allegiance to the Democratic Party and our fearfulness of the Republicans, that we must automatically and blindly support Hillary. I disagree with that as well. Hillary voted for the Iraq War, by the way. I want to remind everyone that's supposed to be ready for Hillary. And I just want to put that out there. But let me say this. I had two neighbors. I was renting a basement apartment here in D.C., and I was a gay couple I was renting from, two gentlemen. One worked for the IMF, and the other one was a defense contractor in Iraq. The guy that worked for IMF, I had a conversation with these people over a beer, and he was basically, his area of concentration was India. He would go to India once or twice a year, and he was completely against the structural adjustment loans that he was there to enforce in India. He was against that. And his partner was a defense contractor in Iraq who was against the war in Iraq. He thought it was just for oil, and it was a bloody coup. He was against the war. I was like, why are y'all doing this if you're against it? So they pay us so well. Yeah. How else are we going to have this standard of living? How else are we going to pay for it? We understand it's wrong, but that's the job. Yeah. And so we do not have to convince people right and wrong. What we have to convince people is their morals on who they are. In God we trust. That's their power. The money, the almighty dollars, who they bow down to.
Yeah, I mean, that even goes back to the war resistors. I mean, this was big back in the 60s. Not paying your taxes because you don't support the war. And there was, people went to jail around that. I mean, it's
Tom, I'm going to have to say it. I've been a war tax resistor since October 16, 1995. Me personally.
Well,
the business is great. Me personally, and so what's my brother's name? The lawyer for O.J. Simpson.
Oh, Johnny Cochran.
Johnny Cochran supported me in that. And because we in D.C. with taxation without representation is unconstitutional. I thought that's what this country was founded on.
There you go. There you go.